Blackula just as famous as Dracula.
Hey, you shall be Blackula.
Racist.
You're like, call me? What? You said, wait. You're like, mother, what you call me? You know, a bunch of people on the internet been out there saying that Candyman's name. So, of course, you know who popped up. A bunch of mother just saying his name.
Candyman. Candyman.
Candyman. Candyman. Candyman.
Okay, well, where is this motherfucker? Yeah. It's like, how many goddamn times you got to say this man's name to get him to show up? It's like, I feel like I should be on stage with a hype man. When I say candy, you say man. Candy. Come here, man. Oh, people ain't showing up with that bullshit. They say his name just to not have him show up, but just to show you just people being clumsy and dropping food on the floor. To my drink! I just poured that shit.
That scream was hard.
I know.
Damn, it looked like she dropped her dentures on the floor.
That was a $22 drink.
Oh, God.
Of course, we're talking about Candyman.
Now, I've never seen any of the Candyman.
Oh, you never saw it?
Candyman is
first one was scary.
Yeah, they had a sequel. I don't know how many sequels they've had, but they've had at least this first one, which is considered a horror classic, and made a horror icon out of the Candyman, who is played by Tony Todd. You can see him right there. Who will be returning for this? This is a direct sequel to the 1992 movie, which was directed. I forgot who it was directed by, but starred Tony Todd.
Virginia
Madsen.
And she got naked in it, too.
Oh, did she?
She used to do that a lot.
I remember that. Yeah, she did.
Yeah, direct sequel to the 1992 movie.
Who is that?
I came for you.
No.
But he did.
I loves me some white pussy.
When you get rid of them bees, we can do something.
Yeah. Sweet as honey. Yeah, but what we saw, the teasers is the direct sequel, because a lot of people have been wondering, is it going to be a prequel or is it going to be a reboot? A lot of people have been even going around saying that the dude that plays Black Mantis and Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, they've been saying that he was going to be the new Candyman. No, actually, Tony Todd will be returning as the Candyman.
Oh, okay.
And what I find interesting about this is that first of all, this is produced by Jordan Peele, this sequel. And what I find interesting about it is that this is coming at a time where this is like the third high-profile horror movie this year. There might be more, but I know there's at least 3 that have either been directed, produced, and starring black actors and black people, or they've been projects that have existed but have been taken over by black producers. Like Chris Rock. Who would know Chris Rock was a Saw fan?
Right.
No, a lot of people.
Oh, hell no.
Have you not seen it?
Man, thank you, brother. I'm a hard-edged cop. Good Lord. Good Lord, I'm angry right now.
It's all this sand in the air.
Good Lord, I hate crime.
You got change for 100.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, man,
that was your initial reaction. It was an honest reaction.
But I was the same way because I said, we watched the trailer a while back, and I said, man, I want to be on Chris Rock's side so bad, man, because I want to see him expand, but I'm not convinced. He's ready for the dramatic realm.
There's a lot of comedians who do great at drama, and it always feels like he's just too funny because he's not making that smooth crossover.
Everything. Sometimes, now he's a little bit older, so his voice might be a little gruffer. But yeah, he can't even die without people laughing. Scotty, help me! I'm gonna die. But I'm rooting for the brother. He's a big Saw fan. He came in and he took over as executive producer on rebooting this series, even though I think this is a sequel to the last franchise. And and this further shows black people's love and almost infatuation with the horror genre. And I would say at the beginning of the show, a lot of people, mainly white people, they're like, why y'all love horror so much? Ain't y'all's lives a horror movie? Y'all live horror. Y'all live that movie 24/7. What's the? And on top of that, why y'all so in love with the genre where y'all always talking about the black dude dies first? That's what you get for listening, bitch. He's like, wrong end on the glory hole, motherfucker.
I said someone in here.
You failed.
Yeah. Next time, put your mouth up there. But this is that's Scream 2, of course, Omar Epps, and I think they were actually making fun, kind of pointing out how the black dude always dies first in movies.
Yeah, because he has a line that says that right before that.
Yeah. So this is even a point where it happened so much that people even parody that aspect now. But what is it that make black people love horror so much? And I'm going to go through a lot of reasons, and I would love if you guys add some reasons of your own. If you have some, don't force it, but please add some, because I'm just putting down some of my own personal beliefs. Why? They're just opinions. I'm sure I haven't covered everything with that, and you guys also too. Please, if you have something when we're done, share with us. But I'll start very simply with my first reason. Black people are just scary people. And I don't mean scary as in scary to white people. You know how black people say, why are you so scary? As in, to translate it, why are you so afraid of everything?
Yeah.
We know what you mean.
Yeah,
we know
exactly.
Why are you so cowardly?
Yeah, black people are just, and mainly black people are scared of a lot of things because, black people don't like ghosts and black people don't like the supernatural.
Yeah.
I know Negroes scared of Casper the Ghost. We are, black culture is deeply rooted in religion, especially Christianity.
Yeah.
And on top of that, again, it's going to be, you can debate this, but black people have grown up in generation after generation of purposely being held back in resources, which affects intelligence. And I'm not, now don't get this way. You say, you saying black people dumb? No, we have been kept ignorant. And because of that, we have a lot of superstition, and we believe, and once we don't feel like we can succeed in this life, we put more faith in the afterlife.
Right.
That's where the word spook comes from.
Yep. And if you put more faith in the afterlife, and we getting real serious, and we are so into the details. We write down to the very last word, with Christianity. If you believe in God, you got to believe in the devil, and that mother. Being
right. And he has power over all these evil creatures. That if you believe in him, then you got to believe in all the other things that go along with it.
Yeah, we are with us believing in Christianity. We believe in Satan and hell, and so we always thinking that there's some kind of evil spirit or some demon hanging out to with us. That's why That's why a lot of people grew up. We're not the only ones, because a lot of people have that, ingrained in their culture. But that's a large part of what makes The Exorcist such a big hit.
Nobody believed it, and nothing could stop it.
When you make these kind of movies that believable, people buy into it because they already believe.
I gotta say, I'm not one to believe in all that, but The Exorcist really did scare me because it felt like it was based on something.
Because they made it was such a well-made movie that it seemed like it was tangible. It was real. And look, you don't even have to. We're talking about how well-made it is. Hey, look, black people and brown people, Hispanic people, because the Catholic faith, You know,
Oh yeah,
you know.
The Catholic faith and Santeria.
Santeria and all that. Listen, black people and Hispanics, you ain't got to make no exorcist. You ain't got to do shit. All you got to do is have a camera and some salt and put that shit on the floor and make it look like a demon walk through that shit.
Something's here. I feel it breathing on me.
Look at that, ain't got nothing but salt and sand and a camera. That's paranormal activity. Paranormal activity didn't have nothing. They had the bare minimum. Them they
real.
They had spices and a sheet and a camera and some sound effects.
If I give you $10, will you go buy a ghost somewhere? Nah, I'll just spend that money on crack. Just keep it.
Can you go buy some salt for this movie? I might buy some bath salts. Eat your face when I come back. Now film that shit. For a lot of superstitious people, not just black people, a lot of superstitious people, it doesn't take a lot to scare them as long as you can play on those natural fears that stem from religion and the belief in the supernatural. But that really does work on a lot of people of color too. You know, this kind of filmmaking. I have to say, Paul, for what I was talking about is not that scary. That shit is genius, man, what they did with that. For a lot of black people, the horror genre, they gave us heroes to root for. I'm talking about, you know, I'm looking at your boy Jason, Michael, and Freddie up there. Let me explain why. Because listen, until recently, and I'm sure everybody can agree with this, until recently, mainstream cinema, a lot of your movies going to the big screen, not diverse. Back in the day, it said, "F you and your diversity." We ain't about that shit. It's not what it is today. So, you know, we had movies that we could enjoy, but not a lot of movies that we could see ourselves in. Not a lot of movies that we could actually relate to with the characters. You know, so, you know, at least in horror movies with Jason, Michael, and Freddie, all those characters that we didn't relate to, we might even say they were dumb. At least after they got through killing the black dude, at least we got to see all those dumb white people die.
Hello? Oh, hi. What are you doing out in this mess?
Had that coming up. Don't be getting in somebody's face like that.
What's going on here?
That mother walked slow.
Yeah.
He walked slow. He walked into the knife.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, you see that shit?
What are
Oh,
you doing out in this mess?
huh?
Investigate.
Oh, you got me. Oh.
Jason's like, this is too easy.
I suppose being a person of color, you do often come across white men random guys who suddenly feel they are in a position of authority to just question you and get in your face like that.
In your personal space.
Yeah, in your
Well, you
personal
know, we
space.
always talk about how, you know,
Walk into a machete.
them motherfuckers walked into a machete. Hey, look, and to let you know I'm fair, you know, we already talked about some black people. You know, they're pioneers in the dumb shit when it comes to either to horror or to action. You know, we remember our boy. You hit in the most obvious place that a blind man can see you. You know, so it ain't just white people, but like I said, in a lot of horror movies, y'all know, listen, I told you guys, I'm not saying that we want to see white people die, but that is y'all stereotype right there. White people should be upset about that. Why do they make y'all so dumb in horror movies?
Yeah.
Yep. As soon as y'all start having fun too and having sex, that's your ass.
Exactly. So, you know, y'all should be mad about that. They make y'all look so bad in these horror movies. So,
and the women are always going to trip or want to go back to save a cat.
Right, a cat or some
they
shit
tripping,
like that.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ripley gonna mad for that cat.
Yeah. I think across the board, humans enjoy watching dumb people die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It
But
makes
for-
them feel better about themselves
but-
and about the world.
oh, it does. But for black people, not only did we get to see people we can't relate to just die, you know, because people that we normally want to see die in other movies, but also, you know, we love to yell at the screen. You know we can't shut up.
I was gonna bring that up because that's the only time it's okay to be hollering at the screen
Yeah.
and shit and go ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, at a drama, you might want to, it's like, shh. At a horror movies, everybody's like, hey, go
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
You know, because y'all know how it is when we watch now that's one thing I tell you about black people. You know, we won't shut up in horror movies. they give us a reason to scream.
What you doing out in this
Go, man! Now turn around and run! Don't walk into the knife! You dumb mother! No, man! What the you doing, man?
You get that big ass mustache on.
You dumb white mother! What you doing? You know. But the other thing is, we still continue to have fun with it because we know that after we're done yelling at the dumb white people, if these characters actually exist, they would kill our black asses too. You know, as much as we worship these guys as heroes and whatnot, they will kill us too. So we still have the fun factor there. Here's another one, man. And here's where it gets deeper, man. Now, you're talking about being able to, I'm starting getting some serious shit. Now, you start talking about being able to relate to these characters. You look at them as fun heroes. You know, there's some that we actually related to on a personal level. And I believe we can go back to the Universal monsters with that. Because, you know, the antagonists and with the characters that were considered antagonists in this universe, the Universal monsters, and I'm talking about, you know, the original Universal monster days. And I'm not talking about the Dark Universe, some stupid shit like that.
The what?
We will not say that name ever again.
No goddamn the Dark Street.
There are some iconic images of these so-called creatures and monsters and everything. You know, some of them are very relatable for black people because they are creatures that are looked down on, feared, hated by the mainstream society. Misunderstood, and a society that fears them to the point of hatred so much that what do? They go after them with lynch mobs.
Search every ravine, every crevice.
Get that black mother.
Yeah, get that Negro.
Catch that nigga.
Black dude running past.
Be found.
Feet still failing now.
Are you ready?
I was gonna say, who's got a light? Who's got a light?
I like the way this dude, he don't even know where to go. Your boy Dick Tracy down here, look at this.
Oh yeah, I know. I think he's shaking his fist.
All right, hey, can I go with you? Hey, no, all right, hey, somebody, hey.
We didn't organize this at all.
But you know, with this, that we see a lot of images that we've seen in real life when it comes to historic images of what they would do to black people, especially in the South. You know, these images don't look much different from what we've seen where we see people out there with torches. You know,
And
big
dogs.
mass of people with, out there
dogs,
with
yeah.
angry faces, angry white people with faces ready to kill. You know, you'll see the dogs in a minute. There they are, you know, the dogs that they're hunting them with. You know, it's something that has been, you know, we've seen so many times growing up. You know, we're taught that history, and we're given very graphic images of that. That, on some weird level, we kind of relate to these creatures here.
Sure.
You know, I've always, after seeing, you know, when I've often thought, why do I sympathize with Frankenstein, or you know, for the nerd out there, Frankenstein's monster, goddammit, Frankenstein's monster here. You know, it was always because he was a guy that was, he out of all these creatures, he's the one that was misunderstood, and the
Right.
one that was chased the most by mobs,
Yeah,
and they tried to lynch his ass.
He didn't ask to be brought here.
No,
He didn't,
right.
and did not ask. Did I?
Right. No, he didn't.
That is-
yeah,
yeah.
whoa, yeah, okay.
Very good point. Did not ask to be brought here, and was always being hunted down by a lynch mob. You know, this leads me to thinking about how there's a real morbid connection for black people and horror. You know, throughout our history, Black history has been truly, I joked about it, but it has truly been a horror movie. You know, it has truly been terrifying. And through our history, we relate probably on a more realistic level with the horrors that we've seen on screen than most other audiences out there. You know, slavery is a horror show on its own. You know, needless to say. But you know, the details are straight from a horror flick. You know, you're kidnapped from your home. You're taken to a strange, scary place. You're made to work under rule where you can either be raped, worked to death, or just flat out murdered without anybody en masse, without the people who do this suffering any kind of repercussions at all.
And your spouse and your children are sold off.
Yeah, treated like animals. You know, that's, you know, we like I say, throughout history, we are shown the graphic images of it. You know, more than history, that is horrifying, man. I'm looking at a picture of, the famous picture of the whipped man with the scars on his back.
Yeah.
You know, when people see slave films and, and they watch them again with that attitude of that's sad, that's tragic. Oh my God, how could people do that? We're like, oh my God, how can somebody do that shit? And I hope it don't happen to me. It's we watch those things on a whole different level. We watch them on the level, I think it's safe to say, we watch them on the level of a horror movie, because what you see done with them are a lot of horror elements that people don't see unless there's an actual creature there.
You're no free man. You're nothing but a Georgia runaway.
That, to me, Jesus Christ, I don't need to look at this shit no more. Paul Giamatti, every time I see this, I want to strangle that mother. Even the effects of slavery after the fact holds a big, that plays a big factor for us, because there are, while people get thrills and chills from movies like Saw, movies where people get tortured to death. They're locked away in isolation without any kind of help at all. When people go and they watch movies, maybe that's why I like this movie so much. But I understand, again, I watch it on a different level than other people. When people watch Hostel, the whole thing of humans just being cruel to other humans because of there's just some sickness inside of them. It's the reason why that is so scary to me more than other people is because a lot of people still don't understand that is a sickening part of American history.
Some human beings can do to other human beings.
Yeah, well,
impunity.
Exactly. Today, we are still learning the details of lynchings that sound worse than any kind of Saw movie or Hostile movie. People being pulled from their homes, from their families, their limbs cut off, hung up for everybody to watch them be tortured, strangled, or worse, burned alive and burned to death.
For the slightest perceived affront.
Yeah, and with children watching them, people cheering them on, acting like this is a picnic.
Look how many people are there.
That's why I say America does not like to look at, we always have to point the finger at the Nazis. We did a lot of worse shit than Nazis did, man. That's straight up a horror movie. And the thing about it is that, that's what happened at lynchings, man. And the reason why I think that has really resonated with people, where we have some kind of connection with horror, it's almost like a kindred, this kindred spirit with horror, because, as I said, you don't see a lot of the aftermath of a gruesome murder, but black bodies have been put on display proudly of what's happened. You don't see that with other people so much, but you see the effects of that with black people, which, hey, it needs to be seen. But I think even living today, where the cops, and it's still something where if you're pulled over in the dark by a cop and nobody's around, we're taught to think that we don't know what's going to happen. This dude decides to shoot me now. He probably knows that he can spin it in a way where he can get away with it. Yeah. What if we get, that's a horror movie right there. What if I get a psychotic or sociopathic cop who just all of a sudden had a bad day?
One.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not just that he can get away with it. I don't give a what happens after I die. I'm saying, like, this motherfucker might just want to kill me just because of who I am. That kind of thing. That's what scares me. Not the repercussions of my death, more so just the fact that he may just want to be like, oh okay, all right, shit, I got something for you, instead of,
A large part of our viewing experience, and not just our viewing experience, but, our history, I kind of think in some weird way, it just kind of enhances the way that we watch horror.
Possibly. I mean, it's a way of I don't know, visiting a traumatic experience, and yet this way it doesn't actually touch you.
It's detachment. We internalize fear, right. But we're able to relate to that fear more than other people, so it's scarier to us. But on the other end, it's not as scary because,
you can dissociate yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in life that are a little bit scary, and we can sit back and, and that's why we can laugh at such things like, horrific movies such as Saw and whatnot. but also maybe even empathize with the characters a little bit more. You know, this has caused this new wave in black horror, and I think the reason why black horror right now is being seen as something of greatness is not because it's a new face added to it, because you got these social issues and aspects being brought to it.
That does bring something new that makes the genre fresher or have more dimension.
You know, that black writers, producers, and directors are bringing, you know, these fears that are feared every day in life and bringing it to a horror genre, but along with that very tangible fear is something that makes these things rise above a lot of other horror movies, just like science fiction that says something. Mm-hmm. You know, again, we've always talked about it. You know, Get Out, showing the paranoia that, you know, you can't trust anybody, even the people that you think are on your side. We see that in politics a lot.
Call me Dean and you hug me, my man. So how long has this been going on, this thing?
It's people have had that kind of paranoia for a while, you know,
Right.
going to places, maybe not even of death, but it's just kind of like, I don't know who's for me or against me here.
Right.
You can never know.
I'm in the middle of this, and I don't know what's going on here. Is
Yeah.
everybody just being nice? Or you said something kind of suspect, and I don't know, you just called me bro.
I know the chat's talking about this thing.
I hate that part. This thing. 'Cause
Yeah,
I've
you just
been
get the
there.
creeps every time you see
Yeah, I
that
know.
part.
This thing.
You know, we talked about how, you know, people take things for granted, like time travel. You know, that's why I talked about this movie Antebellum. I mentioned it when we were talking about our movies of 2020 that we're looking forward to. You know, people have joked about it, but this is a joke that's been like a running joke in the culture for a long time. You know, black people cannot travel back in time to a certain point, you know, unless you want to stay there in chains, you know. You know, that's what you see with, like even with Candyman, who's created by Clive Barker, who, you know, is a gay white man, but
A Brit too.
a Brit, yeah, but
Clive.
you know, his you know, Candyman is something that was you know, had its it was a creature created by the evils of slavery.
The legend first appeared in 1890. He was attacked, mutilated, and burned to death.
You know, that's something that I think appealed to Jordan Peele when he wanted to do this. I don't know if he'll expand on that or not, but maybe, you know, to the point where it has more meaning other than just a boogeyman. Or maybe it's, you know, again, it's that bringing it back around, black people just love horror to where they just, they got their favorite genres and they just want to see it continue. You know, like we saw with Chris Rock with Saw Spiral. You know, maybe there'll be some message in here about police brutality. Who knows what aspect will be brought to that? But sometimes it's just the love of the genre that is brought back around because people want to see it keep going. You know, those are the few of the reasons that I think that there's this big attachment with black culture with horror. You know, I don't know if you guys have anything that you'd like to add.
Well, I mean, you know, other people like horror too. White people love horror. They fetishize it. And buy all the paraphernalia and decorate their homes with it.
No shit.
But as far as getting these directors in it, horror is one of the things it seems to be the easier type of movie to make or at least write, and certainly the easiest type of movie to get produced because they have the highest rate of return
And
on
lucrative,
investment.
lucrative, yeah.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that there was this love for these characters. You know, going back to you know, something like the how relating to the Universal monsters. We loved them so much that we bonded with them so much in a way that we had our own versions of them. You know,
Yeah.
shit. You know, I mean, you know it, but Blackula just as famous as Dracula.
You shall be Blackula.
He like call me what? You said he like mother. What you call me? Did you see when he called him black? Did you see him get up with disbelief? Like what?
My name is David.
Blackula.
He just read the title. What? He saw that title right. Seriously?
Say what?
Yeah, man. You know, we love them so much we made our own. So we've been always trying to add our own messages and imprints on the black genre. Even with this, You know, they in their own way they laugh at them, but in their own way they bring up things, man. Blackula, Blackenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black or whatever, Dr. Black and Mr. whatever. You know,
Abby.
they all. What's that?
Abby.
Yeah, the black version of the Exorcist. You know, those were movies where they managed to kind of bring in subtly a message about living in the inner city, you know, poverty and, you know, and whatnot. You know, they always are being held down by, you know, a society that is trying to hold you back.
I'm sorry, I just laugh every time I think of that name, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Black.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Is that what it's called?
Like, man, y'all just stop trying.
That's what it's called?
Shit, I gave up with Blackenstein.
Oh, Bernie Casey. Let me get you something.
You're real.
Damn.
Supernatural.
Oh, shit! With a Rolls Royce. Get your ass over
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
He went through all that fruit, didn't he? He went through all of it. Like a goddamn bowling ball.
He cleared it.
You're right.
Threw his ass in bananas.
Yeah. Through all of it.
Shot full of lead and he's still ain't
Totems,
dead.
bitch. Come back looking like Karma Miranda and shit.
Mama, your ghetto.
Yeah.
Mama, your ghetto.
Bring your ass in.
You look like me.
Oh.
Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde.
One of my favorite scenes is coming up here. I'm not going to say what it is.
Can survive when he shifts into drive. It ain't no
This is my
jive
favorite. Look at
trying to
this.
stay alive. Silky won't revive from his final nosedive.
What's that switchblade gonna do
Oh,
against the car?
Yeah. What are you going to do, put the tires on flat?
Yeah.
Hey, that's crazy.
Silky won't revive from his final nosedive.
They must have really ran into that motherfucker for real.
Man.
So as you can see,
Dr.
people,
Black and Mr.
Dr.
Oh, yeah.
Black
Yeah,
and
Dr.
Mr.
Black
Hyde.
and
Dr.
Mr.
Black
Hyde.
was Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. And there ain't no jive.
Silky ain't gonna be alive.
He cannot revive. Once he's put him in drive.
You want to do a bad
Somebody's
movie
like,
review? We be there with you too.
All right, I'm okay with getting run over by the car, but could you shut up?
Yeah. I know what's about to happen. He stood tall, threw his ass on the wall. Man, come on.
Spare me.
But over here on DTmerch.com, we got the size that fits all, man. We got all that toasted goodness for different body shapes over there. We don't discriminate against anyone for that classic black tee with the white logo. We know it's in demand. We know who are we to deny people that toasted goodness like that? Many sizes. If you got a big ass body, that means you got big ass feet. We can fit those too with those slides that we have right there. You got a big ass head too. Hey, we can fit that too.